Hi viewers, welcome to Elegant Fashion Tutorial. My name is Charles Peace. In today's video, we'll be making a beautiful and a gorgeous bust pleated dress with cold shoulder sleeve. Some people used to call it kissing pleat, but the main professional name is bust pleated. So we'll be doing it with a princess cut for the upper side. Now let's go straight to work. This is the material, is an English fabric I will use for this tutorial. Now the first step, this is 2 yards of fabric. So now I will measure it. So what I have here is 2 yards and some inches. So we are good to go. First we'll start with the upper part. Now the measurement we are working with is bust measurement of 38 inches. The upper side and the downside of the half length will be the same. It will be 38. Why the bust point? Because we are working with a princess cut. So I will need a bust point measurement which is 11 inches. The half length I'll be using is 15 inches. Then I'll add 1 inch for the joining, both up and down, both the shoulder joining and the down part. Now the sleeve length will be 14, round sleeve will be 13, stroke 10. That is, the upper arm is 13, while the lower arm will be 10 inches. Now I want to use the length of this fabric to determine the length of the dress. It's going to be a 3/4. It will not be too long. So I'll work with this length after removing the upper part. Then I'll measure out the remaining part to complete the down part of my dress. So if you have a specific measurement, good. Because if I say it's 15, because I'm working with only 2 yards of material, so I'm trying to make use of what I have here. Unless if you want it to be longer, you can be adding something like band to make it to be longer, because the length of the fabric I'm working with, let me measure it, this is 58 inches. So after removing the upper parts, from where I stopped, I would then measure the down part. It will be the length I want. Now the first thing I'll do is to measure my half length. My half length is 15 inches plus 1 inch, half inch for down part joining and the upper part joining. So it will now be 16 inches. So I measure. So this is 16 inches. Now my shoulder measurement is 16. 16 divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. This 8 inches, and I'll add half inch for the joining. Then my armhole measurement, I will use 8.5 inches. That is 8.5 inches. Now my bust point is 11 inches. I will measure 11 inches. I'll place the line because it's a princess cut. While this side will be my waistline. Then I'll curve my armhole Remember, from this point you measure 2 inches upward. Then because this is the front side, from this line, from this upper side, I'll go in by 1/2 inch. I'll join the lines together. Okay. So this is my armhole. Now my bust to bust measurement is 7 inches. 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. Then I'll add 1/2 inch, making it 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches from my bust point to the down part. Yeah. Now the armhole, I have to divide it by 2 in order to get my princess cut. First I will join this line. Now I will measure the armhole to know the middle points. So what I have there is 11.5. I will divide it by 2. So this is what I'm having. This point. Then to get my princess cut, I have to join this point to this point. This is my princess cut. Now the downside, remember this is our dart measurement, so I'll take off 1/2 inch from the right side and 1/2 inch from the left side. Then I will join all of them to this point, bust point. As I'm measuring, remember I've already removed 1 inch. It will be added back at this side so that it will not short. You can see that we are having 1 inch here. So I'll add it back to this side so that it will not shorten. Now to this side as well, you remove 1/2 inch from this side and 1/2 inch for this side. My bust point is 38 inches. 38 divided by 4 will give me 9.5 inches. This is 9.5 inches plus 2 inches. So that's why I said this side, my bust point will be the same as the waistline, because this is now my waistline, because my waistline is 37 inches. So if I add that 1 inch, it will be 38, but I'm not going to add it now. I'll first of all calculate it, then after I will measure it here. 37 divided by 4, we are having 9.2 inches. You can see that. So I will measure it here. Add that 1 inch we remove from here, and then add 2 inches here. Then I'll join the lines together. Now for my neckline, I'll measure 3.5 inches here. 3.5 by, let's make it 6 inches, not too high, not too low. So I'll curve it with a round neck. So I curve it out. Now I'll be cutting it. Remember to put your shoulder slope, 1 inch shoulder slope. Because of this princess cut, I will extend this by 2 inches for it not to shorten. So it's better is you have excess material to cut off than being short. So I have to cut. Now this is what we are having here. I will cut this off before we now cut the back part. Okay guys, so if you open it, this will be the picture. Remember to put a notch at this bust point to enable you to fix it very well. So I'll put a notch here, and I'll as well put a notch at this side, at the bust point. Very, very important. Now when you open it up, you see the notch here and here. So it will make you to fix it very well at the right point. Now this is the back side of the dress. I've already measured the length, the half length, which is 16 inches. Remember, it's 15 inches plus 1 inch allowance, making it 16 inches. Now the next thing is to mark my zip allowance, which is 2 inches. I've already marked it. I'll join the lines, put the lines together. Is if you want to use a zipper. It's not necessary if you don't need a zipper. If you want to use a button holder, you don't need it. So the next thing I will do now, the same way I mark the bust point of the front one, I will mark the bust points as well. Remember what we measured there, bust to bust is 3.5 inches plus half inch, making it 4 inches. So this is the 4 inches here. Now measure the bust point, which is 11 inches. So is here. Now my shoulder measurement plus ½ inch allowance. For me to measure it, I'm not going to work on this line. Remember, this is out. If you want, you can fold it in. So now I'll be working with this line. So I'll measure 8 inches plus ½ inch. That is 5 inches. Then I'll measure the same way 8.5 inches here. Then I'll join the lines together like so. Okay, now remember at this 11 inches, that's where we place our bust measurement. This 11 inches. Yes, so now the bust measurement is 38 divided into 4 will give me 9.5 inches. Is 9.5 inches. Yeah. Then 2 inches allowance for this side. Here is 37 inches divided by 4 will give me 9.2 inches. Because this is the back side, so I will minus half inch on each side. Why is it like that? Because remember, the front side is more bolder because of the bust. So the back piece, I will shorten all the length by ½ inch. So here, instead of 2 inches, I'll make it 1.5 inches. Don't be confused. Remember, the front side, I used 2 inches allowance plus at the down part, which is the side for the dart, I added extra 1 inches because I'm going to cut it off. So now this is the back part. So for you not to have puffed zip at the back, so you remove ½ inch each from each side. So here I will be measuring 1.5 inches. You can see that. Remember, this is 9.2 inches here, and 1 inch allowance for the dart, then 1.5 inches. So here as well, I will make it 1.5 inches instead of 2 inches. So I minus half inch each on each side. So now to get our armhole, I'll measure from this point here 2 inches upward. Now curve it with my curve. Now for the back part, remember we use 3.5 inches at the front side. We are still using it 3.5 inches here, and the depth will be 2 inches, or let's make it 3 for it not to be too high. 3 inches. Then I'll curve it from this point to this point. So this is what we are done with the upper. So now to the princess cut. These are bust points here, and this is the line for the bust to bust. So I'll mark ½ inch this side, which we have already added, and ½ inch this side, making it 1 inch. Then join it here. Now because this is the back side, can make it a bit higher, but I want to use this length. You can come up by another, maybe instead of 11 inches we used here, we can come up by 9 inches because it's the back part. Remember, the front part has a bust, so that's why it's lower. It's not good for the dart to cross the bust up, but because we can extend it to 9 inches upward here, this 9 inches, then I can take it here to here. Then to this side, I'll measure the middle. That's if you want a princess cut at the back, but I prefer to have only the half length dart. That is the waist dart. I prefer to have it at the back, so I'll be cutting it like that. For those that still want to make use of princess at the back, what you need to do, just divide your armhole into two and extend this point to that place. It will give you your dart. Now this place, don't forget your shoulder slant is very important. 1 inch for the shoulder slant. Then I open it up. At this point, here, where it will be folded, you can see my stitches will start like this. This is how I will run the stitch. So now after putting the notch, look at the point here. This is the point, so let me measure it to be sure of what I'm doing. So this is 4 plus 2 give us 6 inches. So 6 inches here, and as well 6 inches here. So I'll mark 6 inches here, 6 inches here, then 9 inches. I turn the other side, measure 9 inches here. Then I'll mark 6 inches here. And 6 inches here. So I'll join the lines. So I'll remove the half inch here, half inch here, so that the notch is already there, but just want to put the mark so that when I'm sewing it, I will take it exactly the way the front side is. So I've placed my darts. So when you fold, by the time you fold, remove your zipper. So what we're supposed to be having here after sewing it is 3.5 inches. Okay guys, we are really done with the upper side, which is the half length. Now let's go over to the down part of the dress. Now this is the down part. Remember I told us earlier that I'm working with this length. So we have already removed the upper part, which is 16 inches. Now let's check how many inches is left here for me. So now what I'm having here is 41.5 inches. So that's what the down part will be. After joining, I'll take ½ inch and join upward and ½ inch and join downward. Everything will now be 40.5 inches. So now I'm going to mark 41.5 all through to cut off the excess from the material. I will cut off the extra. Okay, now this is 2 yards, so this is what I will use to plant the down parts of the dress. So we are done with this. The next thing we'll be doing now will be the sleeve. The sleeve length is 9.5 inches plus 1 inch, making it 10.5 inches. So what we have here is 10.5 inches. The round sleeve is 13 inches. Divided into 2 will give me 6.5 inches. This is 6.5 inches here. Then I'll add 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. Now the sleeve is a cold shoulder sleeve. There is nothing much. If you hear the grammar cold shoulder, it will be as if it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just an opening at the shoulder part. That's why they call it cold shoulder, so that air can pass through that side. So now I've already measured the upper arm length. So the lower arm length will be 10 inches divided into 2 will give me 5 inches plus 1.5 inches. I'm using 1.5 inches because I'm using a lining on it. But if you're not using a lining, you can decide to use 1 inch for the allowance. So now I join it together. Now this side, because I don't want it to be too low, I will use 3 inches. This should be 3 inches depth, 4 inches here. Then I'll curve it down to this, so I can curve it to this 3 inches. So I'll cut it off. I'll just remove 1 inch from this upper side to make it open. And I'll open it up to cut off. It's on fold, so that's why I'm opening it. Okay guys, we are really done. You can see how the sleeve is. So this is the 2 sleeves. So we are done with the cutting. Let's go over to the sewing. Keep watching this video. I will show you how to put the pieces we have cut together.